Agua Apprentices. My name is Miss Christina, and today we will be learning about decomposers. Parents and guardians, stay tuned after our lesson because there'll be another hands-on activity that you can replicate in your very own space. So let's get started with this lesson because it's one of my favorites. Okay, so what is the first thing that comes to mind when you see the word decomposer? Usually it's the icky things, but the word that should come to mind is essential. What is a decomposer? Do you remember from our last lesson? A decomposer is a living organism that eats organic matter, such as rotting or dead plants or animals, or leftover food like apple cores and half-eaten sandwiches. So, what are some examples of these decomposers? Can you think of one? A worm, a mushroom, a slug, bacteria, a snail? Okay, when decomposers eat organic matter, they pass it through their bodies and break it down into something called compost. Do you know what compost is? Compost is nature's natural way of recycling. So out in nature, decomposers live under rocks, under logs, in sort of dark places, maybe even under the leaves. Any place that's kind of a dark, closed hiding spot. They feast on organic matter and leave behind nutrient-rich compost for gardens, soils, and the land. Since decomposers help speed up the natural process of decay, some people create homes for decomposers in their very own backyard. Is that so cool? Okay, now, why do you think decomposers are essential to all habitats? Can you think of some reasons? To understand why decomposers are so important, you have to understand how habitats work. Plants are almost always the base of every food web on the planet, which you will remember from the previous lesson what food webs are, right? I'll give you a refresher. A group of connected food chains. And a food chain is the linear network of links in a food web, starting from the producer organism and ending at the apex predator, the consumers, the detrivores, the decomposer species. Okay, so I have a question for you. Can you imagine what the world would be like if there were no decomposers? What would happen to all those half-eaten apple cores, all those corns on the cob, all those half-eaten sandwiches? Where would they go? Well, the wastes and remains of the dead organisms would pile up, and the nutrients within those waste and dead organisms would not be released back into the ecosystem. So could you imagine if we had piles of half-eaten sandwiches and half-eaten apple cores? That would get pretty stinky. So if the producers don't have enough nutrients, what will they do? And if other nutrients that are necessary for another organism to function properly are missing, what would happen? Things would be pretty insufficient. And overall, many organisms would no longer exist. So, do you think that humans play a role in all of this? Of course we do. We are the reason there are those half-eaten sandwiches and those apple cores. So we also eat mushrooms that are decomposers. So we help our decomposers by composting and recycling, which helps to reduce waste. Now you might be thinking, why can't this all just happen in the landfills where our trash goes? Well, the decomposers can't survive in the landfills where the waste goes because they don't receive enough air or water. So, now that we've learned about decomposers, we are going on a bug hunt. It's one of my favorite things to do. And we are in luck because with all the recent rain, it's going to be much easier to find them because the soil is very moist. So follow me.